Cassie testified that the man in the room was a male named Jules. She said she ended up with a black eye after Diddy hit her in between the sessions. So she had a session, Diddy went into the shower, and she thought that was the perfect time to escape, and that's why you see her running without her shoes on. Approval. He said the men were paid anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000, and Diddy would hand her the cash, which she would then give to them. At one point, they were showing her photos of some of the men, which she identified as the Punisher, Dave, Jules, and Daniel. Now, I do apologize for this part, but she said that when she was with these other men, Diddy would instruct them to finish on her, and then in a separate room, have her rub that stuff on Diddy's nipples.
The FBI is finally spilling the tea on how they were able to trap Diddy's freak off into testifying in court, and it turns out that they had to create burner accounts and pretend that they were trying to sleep with them just to get them to show up. Not only that, but most of them had wasted the last couple of years of their lives indulging in some illegal activities, so they used that to get them to come in and testify against Diddy. And in exchange, they got their criminal record cleared up. Apparently, these were unwilling to show up at the police station, and they were also unwilling to testify. So far, only one escort has been called to the stand to testify, but there are a couple of more that are expected to testify in the coming weeks, and word on the street is their testimonies are going to be worse than the first one we recently got to hear. The first escort that was recently dragged to the stand to testify was a man called Daniel Phillips, and he revealed that Diddy made him urinate in Cassie's mouth till she choked on it. Daniel claims he met Cassie and Diddy for the first time after his boss told him to go to Manhattan's Gramercy Park Hotel to perform at a bachelorette party. However, when he got there, he was directed to a suite and Cassie opened the door in lingerie. He immediately got the memo on the kind of timing they were on. He said he also saw Diddy masked up in the corner of the room getting ready to watch him and Cassie freak off. Cassie was in the hotel room in a red wig, stockings, and sunglasses. She gave me a few $100s. There were red couches, Astro Glide, a lubricant. There was a man on the right side of the room. The man had on a white robe and a bandana over his face, below his eyes, and a baseball cap. From his voice, I recognized him as Sean Combs. He also revealed that the allegations about Diddy using baby oil were true, and that his obsession with it is actually worse than we think. Diddy needed them to be drenched in oil at all times, and if they started drying up, he'd ask them to stop and apply even more baby oil. Mind you, these freak-offs lasted hours, sometimes even days. Can y'all imagine the number of baby oil bottles this man went through in just one freak-off session? No wonder the police found 1,000 bottles of it in his house. He needed it in large quantities and he couldn't risk running out of them. They used baby oil every time. Sean Combs said we didn't have enough baby oil on. He'd say, y'all slow down, separate from each other. One time, he tried to have us role play like we had just met at an airport. We weren't good, so we skipped that. As if all this wasn't bad enough, he said Diddy had a thing for golden showers, but he didn't want it to be done on him. Oh no, he wanted it to be done on Cassie, and he was very specific with the way he wanted it to be done. And if Philip didn't get it right, he'd make him give her another golden shower till he did it right. And the whole time he's sleeping with Cassie and peeing all over her mouth and face, Diddy would be sitting in the corner recording and playing with his genitals. He said, so Cassie was actually the one that asked me to urinate on her. They had just come out of the room and she asked me if I had ever done that before, and I said no. And she told me to do it, and apparently I was doing it wrong because they both stopped me and told me that I was supposed to let out a little at a time and not go full like take a leak on her. According to Philip, he was initially happy to do these freak-offs because the money was good and he also got the chance to sleep with Cassie. However, he began to pull back from participating when he realized that Diddy was putting his hands on her and forcing her to do these freak-offs. He describes two incidents. Once, Diddy allegedly hit Cassie, saying, bitch, when I tell you come over, you come over. In the other incident, Philip alleges he heard Diddy slapping Cassie. He walked out in a towel. She ran to me. I asked, why are you staying with this guy? She said it was okay. Mind you, this is the testimony of just one escort, not all the other escorts that the FBI have baited into testifying, who are still yet to come on the stand, so you can already imagine just how messy things are about to get. In fact, on the second day of the trial, this already started to get even more graphic when Cassie, who is now 8 months pregnant, took the stand to give us her long-awaited testimony. She's the star witness of this trial, so a lot of people have been waiting to hear from her, and baby, she had our jaws on the floor. She confirmed everything Phillips said to be true and even revealed more details, like how Diddy used to make her apply the semen of the male escorts all over his chest and nipples. She said Sean would want to put on his body in the next room, usually on his nipples. I was an object being heavily objectified by men. Sometimes he would watch by FaceTime. Why would a grown man claiming to be straight want another man's fluids on his nipples? Child, Cassie said she was just 22 years old when Diddy first introduced her to freak-offs. She said she was very confused and her stomach dropped, but she agreed to it because she wanted to make him happy. Little things like her even making the wrong face around him could trigger him to put his hands on her. So you can imagine what he would do if she turned down a freak-off. The next thing I knew, I was getting hit in the face. There was also psychological abuse. He'd tell me to watch my mouth, change my face. If there were violent arguments, it would usually result in some sort of physical abuse and dragging, just different things. It got to the point where he demanded for her to call him by the nickname of her grandfather, and he had a kink for her doing freak-offs while she was on her period. She said she was disgusted with constantly getting urinated on by Diddy and random men, but she had no choice but to open her mouth and take it all in because if she didn't do it, she'd get a whooping from him. She said at times she choked because there was too much urine in her mouth, and Diddy would join these male escorts to urinate on her at the same time. She said, I was expected to do freak-offs on my period, too much urine in my mouth, it was disgusting. It was too much. I choked. No one could think I wanted it. Ventura, it was obvious I didn't want to be on the ground being urinated on by two men. Cassie said she found these on Craigslist, and at a point it became like the freak-offs were her job, not the music. Mind you, she signed a 10-album deal with him, but she only got to release one, and she was barely getting time to record music because these freak-offs would last for up to 4 days sometimes, and she would have to spend the remainder of the week recovering from all the he pumped into her body. The freak-offs became a job and sometimes went on for 36 to 48 hours. And remember the unholy amount of baby oil Phillips said Diddy made them use? Well, Cassie confirmed this, and she also revealed that Diddy would specifically ask for the bottles to be put in a sink of hot water. Once they were heated up, he would pour it all over her and the sometimes the hotel rooms would get so messed up by the hours of freaking off and baby oil that Diddy would pay thousands of dollars to have it cleaned up. Woo, child, we knew this trial was going to be a lot, but this right here is crazy to say the least. And word on the street is the FBI is still using their burner accounts to trap more and force them to testify, not just about the freak-offs, but his RICO charges too. As usual, people had their own thoughts, like this person who said, Diddy did not do this alone. There are more wranglers and handlers. All leaders here must be outed. Impossible to do it alone. Another person said, Diddy had massive power and control to get away with his horrible stuff for years. But who was above him controlling him and what he did? Those people need outed. They are the real players. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of the FBI using burner accounts and bait tactics to get to come in and testify? And do y'all believe there are more people involved than just Diddy? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.